Before we get started with this specific word problem, I want to have your attention to this anchor chart that I've made. I'm going to live here pretty much the whole time. It's the steps to solve a word problem. Can someone tell me what is step number 1 to solving a word problem? It's kind of a duh step. Brayden? Read the problem. Duh. If you're going to solve a word problem, you should probably know what it says. The problem we're doing today says, Miss Howard's art class is using crayons today. Each table has 1 box of crayons on it. Each box contains 8 crayons. There are 7 tables in the classroom. How many crayons can Miss Howard's students use today? Draw a visual model to show your work. I want you to take a second and reread that problem in your head so that you know what it's asking you. Step number 2. What is step number 2? Brinley?
Write an answer sentence.
Write an answer sentence. This is where we need to know what's called our unit. The word unit is just a fancy way of saying, what are you counting? Am I counting bananas in this problem? No. A good trick to figuring out what your answer sentence is going to be is looking at that question sentence and then flipping it. Hey, we know how to flip it. What should be my answer sentence? The question is, how many crayons can Miss Howard's students use today? Scarlett? Close. Close. Juliana, you want to give it a try?
Miss Howard's students can use the same amount of pen.
Awesome. You're writing, I'm writing. Miss Howard. Miss Howard students can use blank crayons. Why is there a blank in the middle of my sentence? What is that doing there, Ethan?
It's telling you where the missing numbers should go, like the answer to the problem.
Yes! That blank is there on purpose. If I wanted to make it a box, I could. It's a spot saver. My number is going to go there once I figure it out. Alright, we've read it. We know what we're counting. We're counting crayons. What's my next step? What's my next step? Lizzie?
Like a visual model of circles and dots or bar model.
Circles and dots or bar model. This is that picture portion. I do not want you drawing boxes of crayons. That would take forever. I'm a big fan of the bar model, so that's what I'm going to use today. When you get to be on your own, if you would rather do circles and dots, go to town. But I'm going to draw a bar, which means you're going to draw a bar. It does not need to be gigantic. About 3 lines thick is good. If you wanted to make it 1 line thick, that'd be fine. It's your brain, it's your notebook. What does the entire bar mean? What does it mean?
I forgot.
Look in your notebook. We did this yesterday. You have knowledge sitting right in front of you. What does that entire bar mean? Brayden? It is part of part whole. Which part is it? Is it the part or the whole? Whole?
Both? Is it both?
Eliana?
It's part plus part plus part plus part. You're adding part inside of it.
The whole bar represents the whole,
I knew it.
aka the total.
I mean, be like that.
I'm going to put a W down there to remind me, oh yeah, that's the whole or the total. Does this problem tell me the total number of crayons? Does this problem say the total number of crayons? Miss Howard had 178 crayons.
No, that's how much crayons you have.
No, it does not. We do not know the whole. So we're going to put a question mark because we don't know it yet. But we do know some parts. What's one thing that we know? If you're not sure what you know, look up in that problem again. Friendly, what's one thing you know?
Each box contains 8 crayons.
Awesome. We know that we have some boxes of crayons, and inside each box, there's 8 of them. What else do I know? Easton?
There are 7 tables.
There are 7 tables. No, you cannot go down on that class. Where are these crayons located? Are they just fallen from the ceiling?
No.
Where are the crayons located, Miranda?
On tables.
On the tables. So that tells me I need to draw some tables. Ethan told me there were 7 tables, so I'm going to partition my bar into 7 spaces for each of my tables. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure that you have 7 spaces, not 7 lines. Now what's going on those tables? I got those 7 tables. What do I do with them? Right? So what am I going to do with those tables? Every table gets a puppy. Huh? Say it one more time. Well, how many crayons does each table get? 8, because every table gets a box. So you get 8 crayons. You get 8 crayons. You get 8 crayons. So, my model is done. I've put all the information that I know on there. I'm ready for step number 4. And this is the most often skipped step by 3rd graders, but it is the most important step for your math brain. I taught 5th grade before I taught 3rd grade, and I will tell you, if you can do number 4, your brain will be so much better prepared for 5th grade math.
What is 5th grade math?
This, but making a whole lot more equations. So if you can do the equations in 3rd grade, do you think you're going to be ready for equations in 4th grade? Yeah. What about in 5th grade?
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Alright, so our next step is to make that equation. Just to remind you, yesterday we did do part, whole. We have our whole, which we know is the total. Each of these sections then represent all my parts. What could my equation be? What could my equation be? Miranda, you want to give it a go? How many 8s are you doing? 7. Very good. 4, 5, 6, 7. And then what? I like to put a box. Equals something. That's a really big equation. Do we know a shorter equation? Because I'm looking at that and I say, wow, the same number is being repeated and added together. I wonder if there's another equation I could write. Brayden, what do you think? That is a skip counting equation. That's what we just wrote. Scarlett?
You could break it in half and put some together and make it
Maybe. Eliana?
You could type the 8s together.
Nope. Friendly?
7 times 8?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking.
I have 7 groups of 8. That's a much shorter equation. I still have to do the same amount of work, but it's a lot shorter for me to write. 7 groups of 8 equals box. Now, since you guys do not know your 7s and 8s multiplication yet, and you don't have enough counters to make that as an array, I recommend you guys use those addition strategies that you've been taught, where you kind of group them together, like 2 8s is equal to what, 16?
Yes.
2 more 8s, 2 more 8s, and then 1 lonely 8. And now we have a shorter equation. Go ahead and solve this in your notebook. You might have said, oh man, oops, I need to add 16 and 16 together. What is 16 plus 16? Some good mental math. A 10 plus a 10, 20. A 6 plus a 6, 12. 20 plus 12, Bryce? 32. Good old math gymnastics there in our brain. Then we had this other pair of 16 plus 8. I personally don't have a good shortcut. I would have just counted on with my fingers. You could have broken apart that 8 into 4 and 4. 16 plus 4 gives me 20. Nice, happy brain number. Plus my leftover 4. Just 24. So now I'm stuck with 32 plus 24. That's a good one to do in your head because you do not have to regroup.
Yes, I got it.
Grace, what you get?
56.
56.
But I didn't type it right.
That's awesome.
I did.
Hang on, pause. Is that allowed?
What is that?
Grace said I got 56, but I did it in a different way.
Yes.
Yes, friend. If I can teach you anything in math, is to find what makes your brain happy. I just showed you what makes my brain happy. That might be similar for you. Me and Bryce, I just talked to Bryce, we had a very similar path. Our brains like the same thing. Grace just told me, though, I did it a different way. Awesome.
I did 16 plus 16 plus 16, and then when I found the answer to that, I did plus 8.
Sweet. So you just went and did all the 16s first, and then added 8? Sure. Love it. Awesome. Friendly.
I counted with the 8s.
Yes.
got the answer.
Love it. Totally works. I am not an 8 skip counter. My brain does not operate that way. There are some of you who are real good at it. It is not Miss Miller. But if that works for you, you go to town.
Is that me?
Yeah, it's not me. It's definitely not me. Easton, what's that?
I memorized it in my brain, so I kept on counting on.
Yeah. I am such a counter on. I've learned some tricks to get beyond that, Easton, but I will tell you that was me definitely in elementary school. I counted on all the time. All the time. Brayden?
I did in a way, rows and columns, and then I counted by 4s to get my answer.
Ooh, that's interesting. He counted by 4s. Why on earth would Brayden count by 4s? I got a whole string of 8s up there, not 4s. Brayden, that says 8, not 4. He knows that. Why on earth would Brayden count by 4s? That's such an interesting idea. You can come back with your water bottle. Scarlett? Ah, yes! Brayden said, ooh, 8s. Don't make my brain happy. But inside 8s, I have 2 building blocks of 4s. And I can totally make those work. Love it. Love it. Are we done?
No. Yeah. No.
Step number 5. What does step number 5 say? Eliana, what does step number 5 say?
It says, so make sure your answer makes sense.
Make sure it makes sense. I'm passing out a bunch of crayons. Does it make sense that I have a pretty big number? What would be an answer that did not make sense? What would be an answer that wouldn't make sense? For instance, the answer 8, that would not make sense. Because that would mean she only passed out 1 box of crayons, not 7 boxes of crayons. What's another answer that would not make sense? Brayden? 16, yeah. That's not going to be enough crayons for 7 tables. What about 2 million?
What the?
Would that be an answer that makes sense?
No.
No. So you need to make sure that you're thinking, does this answer even make sense with the kind of problem I was trying to solve? All right, let's go ahead and add it to our answer sentence, if you have not done that already. And then we are going to be answering the question that we've been talking about for the last 2 days. So on the next blank page, I want you to write, how is repeated addition related to multiplication? Just what's in blue. You've already done all of our notes before. But on the next blank page, please write, how is repeated addition related to multiplication? We're going to be answering that question in our notebook today.